Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Xerjoff. This is the first video I'm filming for the month of December, so I would like to say happy new month to you all and Merry Christmas in advance. There's going to be lots of ranking and rating videos in this month just to tie in all the fragrances I have gathered for the year 2024. I've really picked up quite a number of fragrances, Paris Corner, Lattafa, Pandora Saint, a lot of them. So I'll be doing like my final thought about most of these fragrances, tie them up, and then give you my ratings, my final ratings and rankings for these fragrances. So there's going to be a lot of ratings, the top 10 this, top 10 that, the worst of this, the best of this. There's going to be a lot of them, so stay tuned. Incorporated with my regular, maturation videos and few fragrances I have I decided to pick up for the month of December. I don't plan to do a lot of, purchases for the month of December. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to give you my most impressive inspirations or dupes from Middle Eastern houses. There's been tons of releases from various Middle Eastern houses and we've been anticipating a lot of these, and thankfully a lot of my wish list has been crossed out when it comes to dupe fragrances from Middle Eastern houses. But not all of them, performed well or were really able to capture the whole essence of the original fragrances. Some of them attempted, some of them failed, some of them succeeded. And in my opinion, these are the ones that I have in my current collection that really nailed these original fragrances from niche and designer houses. I'm going to start off this list with two fragrances I consider honorable mentions. I would have loved to actually have them as part of this list, but they are honorable mentions just because I have not sampled or tested the original versions of these two fragrances, Liquid Brun and then Velvet Tonka. So Athair and Velvet Tonka by BDK and Parfum de Mali. Just because I have not tested them, I will not be able to speak to them, in total. But from fragrance reviewers that I have, come across that I trust their nose, and those who have both the original and dupe fragrances, swear by the fact that these are perfect dupes. And since I have not tested, I will not be able to say that, but I trust them, so I want to go with that. However, these two fragrances on their own have been beautiful. Velvet Tonka, its inspiration by Swiss Arabian Oud Tonka, was released I think late December, early January. I picked my bottle in early January. It's been beautiful. The first few days wasn't like a lot for me. I think it had a very synthetic, Play-Doh vibe to it. But after maturation, it's been awesome. It's one of the sexiest matured fragrances, like Heavy Tonka with the almond, that I currently have. I love this, and I think it deserves to be on this best, list. The next is going to be this, the Liquid Brun, which I love. This is going to be your perfect unisex cinnamon with the spice, the cinnamon, the spice, and then the floral, and then a heavy dose of vanilla, which is not ultra foodie vanilla, and I love that. So these two are honorable mentions to me just because I have not tried the original versions. So let me go with the first one here, and that is going to be a fragrance that I have spoken about. I don't think I've seen any other speaking about this here on YouTube, and this is going to be Cleopatra, and this is fashioned after Carmina. This is amazing. To me, it's one of the best. It's not even one of the best. It's the only inspired by version of Carmina that I have come across, and it is a 1-to-1 with the dark cherry, the rose, the peony, the violet, the vanilla. The florals are what plays the most dominant role here. I'm not typically a floral girl, but this I really enjoy. I like how, powdery it becomes. I like how not too sweet it is. And the dark cherry not being like a sweetened Tom Ford cherry, lost cherry, vibes. It's like deviates from it totally. It gives you a bit of that dark cherry, not too sweet, with the peony. I think I get more of the peony and the violet more than I get the rose, with a bit of a powderiness here. This is awesome. I would highly recommend that you check this one out, and prices for this has also dropped, so I think it is a good time to get one of these fragrances. It's just a beautiful, sophisticated woman vibes, and that is going to be Cleopatra from the house Hamidi. The next one I feel has been a great dupe. I wouldn't say it is a dupe that everybody needed, because the OG of what this one has been compared to is a very affordable celebrity scent. When I had that, I have that actually. When I remember testing that, or when I unboxed it and smelt it, it was an immediate laugh for me, that celebrity fragrance. And when I got Qissa Delicious by Paris Corner, it didn't immediately remind me of that. It didn't. Honestly, it did not. I gave it about 2 months or less than that, about a month. Then it began to, bloom into its own, become a very beautiful marshmallow, chocolatey, whipped cream, vanilla, beautiful gourmand scent. And now it smells so much like Sabrina Carpenter's Sweet Tooth. That is a very affordable fragrance in itself. But if you're not aware, I had always compared this to Sweet Tooth. And then on Fragrantica, it's been confirmed that it is indeed inspired by Sweet Tooth. We don't necessarily have to buy this as an inspired by, version of Sweet Tooth, because if you are going for price, I think Sweet Tooth is already very affordable, even more affordable than Qissa Delicious, but I love this for what it is. This one has that addition of the citruses that I don't get in the Sabrina Carpenter Sweet Tooth. So for that, I love this. Do you need both? I think so. I think you can do with both, because this is going to give you something a little more darker with the dark chocolate and then the citrus as well. Sabrina Carpenter is going to give you the marshmallow, whipped cream, vanilla, creamy nuances. So this, I think, is a 10 over 10 for me. I love this scent. As we speak, I'm almost through. I think I'm done with this fragrance. Like, I have less than 5 ml of this, and I might not get one. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm not sure how I should approach it, because I still have my Sabrina Carpenter Sweet Tooth. So probably I'll just pick up a backup bottle or not, depending on how the whole thing goes. But this has been amazing to me. I think Paris Corner did a great one. If they had that in mind to go with Sabrina Carpenter, I'm not sure they did, because they wouldn't want to replicate a very affordable one, but whatever they did, ended up being a very comparable scent to Sweet Tooth by Sabrina Carpenter. The next inspired by fragrance I feel they did like a phenomenal job is going to be HerConfessions by the house Lattafa. I've seen Diwani Lactia, from Fragrance World. I've seen it. I've not tried it yet, but it's not giving me the review, it's not giving me that positive review I've been looking for. So for that reason, I don't think I'm going to grab the one from Paris Corner. However, this to me is a good interpretation of Blanche Bette by Liquid Imaginaire. It's a very good one. Of course, it's not going to give you the same, richness and depth that the original has. But when it comes to dupe fragrances or inspired by fragrances, it is as good as, you can get it. This is a good one for people who love their, lactonic, milky fragrances, or even if you do not like the note of milk in fragrances. This is not going to be your stomach turning, nauseating one. This is actually a very beautiful, mass appealing vanilla milky floral fragrance with some woody undertones to it. This is a very beautiful one. I think I'm going to stick to this. I'm not going to bother myself about the one from Paris Corner, just because it's not giving me the review I've been looking for when it comes to something going to compete with HerConfessions. I don't think it is competition for this, so for that reason, I think this is an amazing one that Lattafa did for us. Another one I'm going to go with is going to be from Paris Corner, and I think this is an empty bottle. Care Fusion from Paris Corner is an empty bottle. Never in my life did I imagine I was going to go through this, because it wasn't a lot for me. This grew on me. It was a very light, really nothing to write home about scent from the beginning, but this grew on me with the lychee raspberry. This is beautiful. KAYALI sparkling lychee. Yes, I believe that is the one that this is inspired by. It's really a beautiful, mass appealing, spot on with the original one. I love this scent. Like, it's one of the few fragrances I've been able to go through a full bottle for the year 2024. And Care Fusion is a very beautiful one. I've not tried the one for the other one there. I'll put them on the screen. I've not tried that. That was also released in 2024. I've not tried that, but it's also got some bit of not a bit, it's got a lot of positive reviews, so probably The only reason why I don't want to pick it up is because it's been compared to La Belle, and La Belle has never been a love for me. You know, I'm not really a fan of the fragrance La Belle, and this particular fragrance has been compared to it, but people swear to the fact that it's very identical to the OG. I think the care line has been awesome. You know, Paris Corner has given us like good interpretations or inspiration in the care line with the care pistachio, which I'm not also a fan of, you know, but I think they interpreted it well, you know, so I'll give it to them. And this has been amazing, released in 2024. The next one I think has been, that has, I would highly recommend, has been a very good dupe, is going to be, or inspired by version of a fragrance, is going to be another KAYALI, and this is December Vanilla, fashioned after the sugared patchouli, you know, 64 by KAYALI. This is amazing. This is amazing. The only difference is this has like less of that cinnamon. You don't get that spicy cinnamon of the original one, but it's still a very good, you know, interpretation of the KAYALI with the patchouli, the Boozy rum, the creme brulee, you know, like an edible gourmand creme brulee scent, a very grown, sexy woman, you know, it gives you a very sexy, grown appeal. It's not one that a lot of younger crowds are going to appreciate, because although it is gourmand, it's not your mass appealing everyday gourmand. It's more of a rich, decadent, you know, beautiful, thick resonance, rich, intense scent with the spicy, boozy creaminess, you know, vanilla. Is beautiful. This is like 99%, you know, sugared patchouli, and I love this set. You know, I remember when the sugared patchouli came out, it wasn't accepted well because of the oud, you know. I remember like 2-3 years ago, it was not really accepted in the Western, you know, fracom. I remember seeing a lot of reviews and people were like, no, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much, you know. And I was like, well, I know people were going to sort of, you know, give it the backlash that it's received. Fast forward a few months down the line, like a lot of people started, you know, appreciating sugared patchouli, and this to me has been like a wonderful interpretation. So December Vanilla, I think, has done a phenomenal job, you know, at that. The next one I believe has been a great interpretation, although not like 100% spot on when it comes to guidance. It's going to be by Asrar. I don't know of any other Middle Eastern house that has done guidance by what's the name, Gudance, yeah, by Mawj. So for that reason, I'm going to say it has been one of the best that has come out from any Middle Eastern house. I know there are other houses that have done guidance, you know, but I'm basically like the Middle Eastern person. I do a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances, and that is why I decided to go with this. And this has not disappointed me, although like a lighter version of AIDS, a less, you know, intense version, which I think people who found guidance to be a lot for them will appreciate this a lot more. This is beautiful. Your nutty rose, you know, fruity scent with that dark, it has a dark twist to me, you know. The OG feels a lot more darker, and you know, that sort of dark and mysterious, you know, vampire even esque, you know, scent to me. And this one follows suit, although like less intense. It's like the little cousin to it, you know, like the EDT version, and I love this. I think the other fragrance which reminds me remotely of this is going to be the one from Lattafa, the Noble Blush. It gives me vibes of that, you know, with the addition of other notes, but this has been a good one. I know this has also received a lot of backlash. People were like, oh no, it doesn't really smell like guidance, it's not a good interpretation. I think it is, you know, because I have a decant of that guidance that I've been sampling for a while. I guess don't want it to get finished. I got this like a couple of years, like last year, from Saint's Plate, and this, I mean, it's a dupe, you know. This is an inspired by version, so I wasn't expecting like a lot from it, but whatever it's giving me, I love. So this one I think was done in a very beautiful way. The next one that I also think was done beautifully is going to be the Mawj Appletini from the Mawj line. You know, this is beautiful. I remember doing my review of this before I was able to sample the OG apple brandy on the rocks, I believe, from Parfum de Mali, and they smell very identical, very identical, about 90%, you know. It's a good interpretation. I remember smelling it and immediately was drawn to the original one, and it immediately reminded me of this. I didn't do like a side-by-side test, but my sense memory just gave me Appletini, and those are beautiful, almost masculine, leaning fragrances with the apple, the freshness, and a bit of a soapy nuance to it, with that boozy tone to it. It's beautiful, and I think Paris Corner did a phenomenal job. I would like to think that the Moscow Mule is also a good one, or a good interpretation, because I remember watching Vegas Saint. When it comes to, some of these latest releases, I normally watch Vegas Saint because he's very up to date when it comes to masculine, Saint, and I enjoy his reviews a lot. He speaks about a lot of these Middle Eastern releases, and he's been speaking about the fact that Moscow Mule and this and other, fragrances are quite close to the OG. I've only sampled the original of this, and I can only speak to this, but I also believe Moscow Mule is a good one when you're looking for an interpretation or a good inspiration of Ginger Dash, I believe that is the name. Another great interpretation of a fragrance that I have loved since I received the bottle is going to be Angham from the house Lattafa, inspired by the OG Burberry goddess, the EDP. This is amazing. I always say it lacks something, and whatever it lacks, I can't really fault it because it is like inspired by. So I wasn't expecting 100%, but for what this one is, I really do enjoy Angham by the house Lattafa, with the lavender, the florals, the vanilla is beautiful. The jasmine, sort of feel to it. The vanilla, not like the foodie, realistic gourmand one, but giving you that sweet bakery sort of vanilla. It is beautiful. I love the scent. Although I have like this and Athena, I think this has always been my preference. This is a good interpretation, giving me about 95% accuracy to the OG Burberry goddess, which I feel is a lot more nutty and creamy than this. Nonetheless, this is a very beautiful interpretation. This I would highly recommend. I think the prices for this has also significantly dropped. That if you are looking for something for Christmas as a gift for someone, like a lady, I think this is going to be a great gift idea, and that is going to be Angham from the house Lattafa. The next fragrance I believe they also nailed one-to-one is going to be God of Fire in the form of Mango Bliss by Paris Corner. I think probably I'll pick up a full bottle of this. I have this decant of this, and this is like a spot on to God of Fire. I remember hearing about God of Fire, the brand Stefan Humbert Lucas, it excites me. I don't know, there's something about the brand, maybe a lot of their bottles sort of excites me, and I would always hear my niche girlies talking about God of Fire and other things from the brand, and like, oh, it sounds fancy, but the prices are not fancy, to me. It's like a fancy price for my pocket. I'm not up to that, for right now. So when I smelled Mango Bliss, I remember talking about this. I think I was the first person to talk about Mango Bliss when it was like released. And when I sampled this one from Tell's Perfume GH, I was with her. We're trying to figure out what it was. And then we were able to sort of put one and one together. And then later when it came to Fragrantica, that's God of Fire. It's a very beautiful one. It gives you that it gives me a sort of lemongrass tea, lemongrass tea in a very good way, with the unripened, it's not a juicy mango, it's like a tart unripe mango with that lemongrass tea vibe. It's quite different, quite complex, with a powdery nuance attached to it. And there's something very addictive about this that I love, the Mango Bliss from Paris Corner. There's something very addictive about the scent that I love. So to me, I think it is a one-to-one, almost like, it's not almost, it's a very spot on inspired by version of God of Fire by Stefan Humbert Lucas. I hope I'm getting the name right, so yeah, God of Fire, I think they did a good job with Mango Bliss interpreting it. I'm going to go with the House of Lattafa, and that is going to be Eclaire. I don't have my bottle of Eclaire here. I only brought along my Tuscan caramel cascade, which I have since utilized. It is empty. I love this scent, you know, there's nothing coming out of this. I love this scent. The scent profile, it's not like a love for me, but I really appreciate, I enjoy it, I get compliments on it. And I think between this one and Eclaire did a better job, because this, although gives me almost an identical feel, it's more milky and more floral, where Eclaire is going to give you more of the vanilla essence that Bianco Latte is all about. I love them both, you know, but I think Lattafa did a much better job when it comes to interpreting, or coming up with the dupe of Bianco Latte. So Eclaire, I would highly recommend. The next one I have on this list is going to be Arabia's Portrait Oud, fashioned after Alexandria II by Xerjoff. That is a good interpretation. It gives me a more effervescent, a more floral, you know, version of Alexandria II by Xerjoff, less of the powdery palisander rose wood, you know, but it dries down woody. But the beginning is not going to give you exactly that, you know. But I love Portrait Oud. I think it is something that you can look into if you really love the whole oud, powdery, woody, you know, nuances. It's a very beautiful floral effervescent take on that, on Alexandria II by Xerjoff. I think that fragrance is phenomenal. I love it, and I'll highly, you know, recommend that you check it out. I think Arabiat did a good job. I know there are lots of other interpretations from other houses, you know, like the Western Dupes and, you know, other houses. But when it comes to an Arabian house, I think Arabiat did such a phenomenal job, you know. They gave it a bit of a twist, but that twist didn't really give it much of a different direction. It still maintained that same essence of Alexandria II by Xerjoff with the woody, apple, you know, it has a this apple vibe, like a fresh apple vibe, and that powdery palisander rosewood touch, a woody powdery, you know, lavender nuance that I believe fits like both genders, like male, female. It's very like gender neutral, you know, both fragrances, Alexandra and then Portrait Oud. Afnan also did a great job when it came to vanilla powder in the form of Blooming Bliss. I think they did a phenomenal job, because they were able to capture the whole essence of vanilla powder, but with more of a caramel touch, because this actually has the note of caramel, whereas vanilla powder does not have the note of caramel. This one has the note of caramel, and I think the coconut nuance in this is a lot more pronounced than the one I perceive in vanilla powder. The first time I tried vanilla powder was a love for me. Subsequently, it's been the same. I love this, you know, although it has like a bit of a twist on its own. But which dupe or inspired by version does not have like a bit of a twist on its own? Most of these ones have, you know, bits and variations here and there. And I think that is what gives it a bit of a touch on their own, you know, and sort of sometimes they sort of improve on the OG ones, you know, but I don't think Blooming Bliss was an improvement over vanilla powder. I'm just giving an example. This captured the whole essence of vanilla powder with the addition of the caramel and a lot more of that coconut nuance I perceive in this than I perceive in the original vanilla powder. So I think Afnan did a phenomenal job with this. And the last fragrance on this list is going to be a pair. I think these pair were amazing releases, which were fashioned after Arabian's Tonka by Montale, and these are going to be Caro's Secret Mask and then Pandora Scent Noir de Arabia. I have decants of both fragrances. I have the Pandora scent right here. I have my Caro Secrets somewhere mixed in my sample pile. But both of these fragrances are going to give you that Arabian Tonka DNA with the sugary, you know, that sweet sugary nuance coupled with the heavy rich Tonka. That fragrance honestly is not a love for me. I've never been like a great fan of Noir de Arabia or Carus or even the OG Arabian Tonka. I feel it's a bit too much for me. You know, there's something about it that is like, I don't find I don't know. I really am not a fan of, you know, the OG, and although these inspired by versions I think did phenomenal jobs, you know, recreating the fragrances, they are still not a love for me. That is why, although it became quite popular, you know, I never grabbed like a full bottle of any of these. I think my preference was the one from Cadillac, you know, Secret Max. That was my preference, but I think Noir de Arabia is also a good one, you know, for the price that you're getting some of these ones. I think for Cadillac, the price is a little higher than the one from Pandora Scent Paris Corner, but they both did a good job interpreting Oud Tonka, not Oud Tonka, BDK, no, what am I saying? Montale's Arabian's Tonka, but I think I prefer the Carus one from by KAYALI to Pandora Scent, but I think they both did phenomenal jobs, you know, at recreating that. So these are amazing fragrances in my collection, the ones that I have picked so far for the year 2024, and these are the ones I believe did some good job, you know, interpreting these unique niche and designer fragrances. I love them all. I think they are fragrances I would highly recommend for people to check them out. You can buy some of them blindly, you know. Sometimes you just have to take the risk. Sometimes you need to just take the risk, you know, when it comes to fragrances, because what might work for me might not, you know, and vice versa. So that is all I have for you. Stay tuned for various other, you know, ratings and rankings and best of this and best of that and worst of this, you know, my faves, my least faves, they're all going to come in the month of December plus more. So thank you so much, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.